Looking into the structural levels of organization, we have to start with the most basic, and that's going to be the chemical level of organization. When you start looking at the chemical level, you're dealing with the atoms, the molecules, the individual pieces that build everything in our bodies. As you start building larger and larger components, we can move into the cellular level. Now, even before we get to this cellular level, there is kind of another level in between there a little bit. You can almost look at the organelle level. The organelles are going to be the machinery that runs a cell. So by the time you get to the cellular level, you're looking at all the organelles that made up that cell. But what made up the organelles? The organelles are made up of all those chemicals, all those molecules from the first level. But now, take these cells, start building them, putting them together, and you end up with the tissue level. Tissues, well, that's all the different histology that makes up your body. When you start looking at what a tissue or histology is in this case, we're looking at similar types of cells coming together. So you can think of the tissue level as things like osseous tissue for bone, or skeletal muscle tissue that makes up, for example, your biceps brachii, or nervous tissue that makes up your brain. That's the tissue level. Again, we're building from basic chemistry up to more complex. From the tissue level, we can go into the organ level. Organs are going to be made up of two or more tissues working together. Because you can't just randomly take different tissues and put them together. They have to be able to function together. So you're thinking of an organ. Think of the heart, for example. You have cardiac muscle, one tissue. You then have vascular, blood, a second tissue. You have the lining of the heart. That's going to be epithelial tissue, simple squamous. So we have many different tissues, but you need at least two or more to make it work to become an organ. Now, when you start taking these organs, they then go into organ systems. This level, organ systems, are going to be two or more organs working together. Now, sometimes it's only a couple organs. Other times, there's a whole lot of organs working together. Because think about it this way, your muscular system, each individual organ, deltoid, biceps brachii, triceps brachii, each one is an organ. But they all work together to create your entire muscular system. But in total, there are 11 different organ systems. So this organ system level consists of 11 different systems. The trick is, can you think of all 11 different organ systems? So take a try. See if you can think of them all for a second now. Well, what to do is go through them. So hopefully you had an idea of getting through them. But let's start with the integumentary system. Integumentary, hair, skin, nails. It's what covers your body and protects it. Other one here is the skeletal system. This is going to be all the bones in your body. Things like the humerus, the ribs, the sternum. All part of the skeletal system. Giving a structural framework to your body, as well as mineral storage, as well as an anchor point the muscles can pull on. So as you're going through these different organ systems, at least remember one or two things from each one here, so you have an idea of what they are, and we'll build on this throughout the rest of the course, and into AMP2 as well. Muscular system. That's all of the muscles in your body. You can think of things like the deltoid, the biceps brachii, triceps brachii, pectoralis major. All those are parts of the muscular system, helping to create movement for your body. Nervous system. Think of the spinal cord, the brain, your individual nerves running throughout your entire system. The nervous system allows for transmission of signals or impulses. Now, this is how you communicate a lot of times throughout your body. Endocrine system. Now, for the endocrine system, you can notice there is a second kind of a sub-drawing down there as well. That second sub-drawing, female and male, because ovaries and testes are both part of the endocrine system. And obviously that's gender specific there. So when you start looking into this case, looking at pituitary gland, looking at the thyroid, the parathyroid, adrenal glands, there are many different main glands, but then also secondary glands you'll get to when you get to the endocrine system. But endocrine is hormone-based. It's the hormones that'll help with regulating different functions in your body. Cardiovascular system, sometimes known as the circulatory system. Cardiovascular, heart, and then your blood vessels, things like arteries and veins, arterioles and venules. It's what transports the blood throughout your entire body. So the cardiovascular system. Lymphatic system. Lymphatic is going to help with moving what's called lymph, a fluid, throughout your body. Things like lymph nodes. You're going to have the actual lymph, the fluid itself. You're going to have the thymus in here as well. The spleen plays a part. So the lymphatic system. The other one here is the respiratory system. Respiratory system, think lungs. You have the trachea coming down. You have your bronchi and bronchioles. It's all about how the air is brought into your body and then exhaled back out of your body, allowing for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, as well as other gases, into and out of your body. Digestive system. Digestive, think stomach, small intestines, large intestines, esophagus coming down, mouth for that matter. This is how you're bringing food or nutrients into your body that allows you to absorb them and then power the rest of your systems. So your digestive system. The urinary system. In the case of the urinary system, you're thinking kidneys, which are on the posterior side here. Think of the urethra, the ureter, the urinary bladder. The point of the urinary system is to help with filtration of your blood, removing waste, but also anything that's in excess ions that you don't need, for excretion out of your system. And then the reproductive system. Now we're seeing both male and female on this slide because male and female for reproductive will have male testes, female ovary. So by the testes and the ovaries, you're having a slightly different system in both, but they both have the same basic functionality. They both are meant for procreation of the species, basically new humans. They both also have hormone production, hence why they're endocrine-based as well. So 11 different organ systems. And all those organ systems make up the ultimate or the organismal level. Now this organismal level is just the body. It's who you are. But you can think organismal is all the body systems working together. In the case of humans, we have 11 body systems all working together to make us who we are. If you're removing one body system, your body can't function properly. You're saying, well, we don't really need the lymphatics, do we? Yeah, definitely. That helps with picking up excess leaf fluid and aids in our immune system. Could you imagine having a compromised immune system and trying to fight off infections? It can be problematic sometimes. And some individuals unfortunately have a compromised immune system. They have to be very careful not to pick up too many infections. But any other system you list off, cardiovascular, nervous, endocrine, you need every one of these systems to work in unison with the other ones. The idea is all 11 body systems have to be working together to maintain homeostatic balance in your body. So a little bit of organizational hierarchy. Here we have this kind of chart. Look at the very top, it's the chemical level. As you go from the chemical level working down, you notice heading down the chart gets wider and wider. Well, those things get bigger and bigger. By the time you reach the bottom down here, you're looking more at the organismal level. Just kind of a different way of visualizing those levels we just talked about. From the chemical level, going down to the water molecular level, going down to the cell level, which we passed over the organelles, don't forget. From the cell level, heading down to the tissue level, down to the organ level, down to the organ system, and then the organismal level. Everything is based off level to level to level, building in complexity as you get to the bottom down here, which is where you have the overall organism. It's a little about how the systems are organized, and this idea of organization all the way through will continue as we move through the rest of the chapters of this course and into AP2. So levels of organization. I'll come back over and over, so keep it in mind as we go forward.